Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm sitting down with my buddy Jim from Canada, an absolute lively character with tons of experience of living in the Philippines. In this video, we're going to talk about life in General Santos City, what's it's really like, cost of living, the dating scene, safety tips, and what you need to know if you're considering living here and traveling through Mindanao. Jim shares some really valuable survival tips for navigating some of the more challenging areas of the Philippines and offers practical advice for expats and travelers. You don't want to miss this one. Let's dive in.
What's up? I'm Joshua from General Santos City. I'm also a skater, and I work after I work I do skate in our skate park, so I can be a pro someday.
Salam tayo, bro. Appreciate it, man.
Good evening, Joshua Shalana. Bye bye.
MP.
See you, Josh.
Ayo, brother.
Bye bye.
Yeah, freaking love this country, right? Yeah, what do we got here? Yeah, tell me about what we got here.
Well, I got this little tiny food stand slash bar. I got a Filipino partner to make it all legal, and then my visa and this and that.
Nice.
It's a real pain in the butt, and it's not really worth it because you don't make money here.
Right.
So a lot of the Westerners I met are like, well, I want to own a business. No, you don't. I'm here 12 hours a day, and I make less than I make in 1 hour in Canada. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, right. So that's how we met. Right across from the Red Doors, guys, if you're staying here. And I believe I've got in an earlier video, I did a quick room tour of that. So
it's, you know, it's nothing like Shangri-La, but you know what? It's
less than 20 bucks.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? And it's clean.
And it works.
It's good enough.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Red Doors in general, man. They're
well,
fine.
no, in Cebu I've been to some pretty bad ones.
Have
actually.
You?
Yeah.
I've stayed at quite a
good.
few. Yeah, I've stayed at quite a few, and all in all, they're some of the better like pension out. When you're talking like 1,000 pesos, man, you can get in some real dives.
Oh yeah.
And so far, Red Doors for me have been okay. So you've been here almost like 2 years then, right?
No, I've been in Gen San almost a year. March 12th will be a year.
Okay.
And then before that, I did a few other spots. Everyone lands in Manila.
Right.
I personally found Manila crap, and it was hotter than here. People say, "Oh, Gen San's so hot." Maybe the actual physical weather is, but not the city itself.
Okay.
I had shoes physically melt the plastic on them. They were not cheap Chinese shoes from here. They were my North American shoes.
Melt on you.
Melt on me on the ground. I never had that in Egypt. Never had that in
So you've
the
been here a year. Tell me about Gen San. Tell me about a little bit.
Well, it's by far the best part of the Philippines that I've been to. I know that people are looking for tourist islands and all of that. I mean, I do miss that there's no beach here. My nickname's Tuna, so to not be able to go swimming every day like I do in North America kills me. But it's one of these things where everything else it has is really, really cheap, like a third the cost of living in Cebu.
So like a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom, what do you think those cost?
Well, I don't know. I have a 3-bedroom house with 2 baths and a wall, and I pay 6,000 pesos a month, which is less than 200 American, right?
It's dirt cheap.
So yeah, and I mean, in my neighborhood, people are like, "Oh, it's so far, so far." It's not far. It's between here and the airport. So I mean, you know, I was spending about $500-600 just on food, which isn't a lot, guys. Translated to our dollars, it's still cheap. To feed myself here, but I was having to go to 3 booths and order 3 meals because their portions are so tiny that it's like, oh, I'm still hungry, you know. But they have a really cheap beer bucket price, which lured me in, of course, because I was still in my drinking phase. I'm drinking every day, going to clubs. Because that's the other thing. Shenzhen has a really good nightlife.
Really?
It's not like the sex pervert nightlife like you get in Thailand or Cambodia or places, but it's fun. It's nightclubs. If you want to go dancing, if you just want loud music.
So what are some of the better clubs that are here?
Well, I was pretty much a house staple for 3 months, 4 months at Ultimate.
Ultimate?
It's called Ultimate Nightclub, and it's owned by a guy from the UK who's been here for about 15, 20 years. He built the building. It's the tallest building in the downtown core.
Okay.
And it does cater to all kinds of preferences for gendering and stuff. I mean, it's really big over here.
Yeah. Are ladyboys a really common thing here?
Ridiculously so. And they aren't even passable here. At least in Cebu, one of my complaints with Cebu was a lot of them are passable. So if you're not into that, they don't tell you that they're a ladyboy until you bought them a few dinners. Or worst case scenario, you get them back to hotel. I never got that far for me, but and I'm not hating on that. Hey, everyone's got to eat. It's just one of those things where when I date, I'm trying to find a real female because I want to have kids, right? No matter how sexy the lady boy is, you're not having babies with it, you know what I mean?
So it's got some good nightlife here, inexpensive.
Really inexpensive.
What else? What else about General do you really like about?
Well, it's easy to get around, first off, and if you're older, because a lot of the expats I encounter are like 75 plus.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
We are the rareness. Like, when I meet a younger guy, he's just visiting normally. I only know about 3 or 4 of my regulars are young guys or younger than me. I'm in my mid-40s.
Right.
And they're like military guys who washed out, came over here because their pension's big enough.
Right.
And that's the main reason people live here is the pension difference, right?
Totally.
I mean, if you're living like my country, Canada,
right.
your pension's maybe $1,400 a month. As an old guy, your rent's $12.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You got $200 to survive on? No way.
Right.
Here, you heard what I pay for my house.
Yeah,
so if I'm I'm not on a pension. That's why I have to have a bar. But you know, if I was on a pension, I'd be living like a king.
Totally.
I live on $700, $800 a month here, to be honest.
Wow.
That's Canadian too, so that's less than the Yankee dollar.
Right.
And it's fallen fast. Like it's now 37 cents to the peso when it used to be 44. So I thank our Prime Minister for that.
Cheap cost of living, fun nightlife, easy to get around. What else about
Good airport. It's a full airport, so you can fly in and out of here no problem.
Nice.
And it goes to about 15 or 16 different islands.
Right.
So you don't just here or Manila, it's like all over. It says it's an international airport and they plan it to be, but it's not yet. So nothing flies to other countries from here. The other side of it too is there's a lot of good hospitals. That's why especially old people.
Wow.
There's about 10 really new modern hospitals.
Okay.
And almost all the doctors in the southern Philippines are trained here in Gensan. They have the Doctors Hospital, which is a teaching school. In Canada, we would equate that to like McGill or U of T. I don't know what the big, Boston probably would be the big one in the States that trains doctors. Right. You know,
Stanford,
but it's one of these things where if you're older, that's a factor. Like living in the provinces, you can't do that as an old guy. Like, there was a YouTube guy who just died because he had a stroke out in the middle of nowhere. Right. You know, people know him, and I feel bad for his fam, but yeah, you trade the peace and quiet of the country for the lack of amenities. Now, with Gensan, you're not making that trade. You feel like you're out in the sticks a little bit.
It's a big city. It's like almost 800,000. I was shocked by that.
It's easy to get around. Like I will rent a car here.
It's a big little city. It doesn't feel that big.
No, but but it's kind of like the way we do it in Canada. I don't know how it is these days, but we have it like it's burbs. It's like little burbs, but there's not really that much space between the burbs. But it's still, it sprawls it out. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's a horseshoe-shaped city around a huge bay in the ocean, right?
Yeah. So let me ask you this then. What about the dating? What would you say would be the dating experience like here in Gensan?
Well, I mean, by the time I got here, I had pretty much already settled on 2 or 3 girls that I really liked. So I was
just 2 or 3, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, the idea of settling for one is just ridiculous. Because that's how you get the crazy ones. Because you cut out all your other options, and they, you know, they are crazy. Some of them. I try to get the American guy to come down here because he's one of the younger guys. He's got a military pension, and he's a great guy, but he's a glutton for punishment. Like he's with a woman who is beyond crazy. Like she gave him shit one day. We were driving around looking at houses for me before I got my house, because he looked in traffic before turning on the street, and there was a Filipina in the field of vision. Right.
So the dating is pretty good here, would you say?
I mean, I find, yes, like I say no every day. If I'm in the mall, especially if I'm chatting with other Westerners, like sometimes if I see a Western anywhere, I walk up, I say hi, that's how I met you, right? As a business owner and the only expat bar in town, I sort of, that's the only thing that's going to keep me open, because the locals are too shy to even come look at my menu. Right. You know, even if they speak good English, they're self-conscious about it. Yes. But if you're in the malls and you're walking around, you look even decent like us, because the options are all really, really old dudes. Right. So they'll just, like I've had girls jump on me and start calling me daddy and hugging me and stuff. I push them off because I'm worried they're going to pickpocket me or something. But
I had a girl yesterday, 2 of them walking together. One of them, I mean, I thought she was about ready to rip my clothes off right then.
They do. Now they're shy that way. Like they won't. Here's the thing. That was what caught me on to learning how to identify ladyboys. Ladyboys are brave enough to approach you.
Yeah. She didn't say anything. But
they'll giggle. They'll smile. They do a little They do this cover their teeth thing. It's called nosebleed. And then you just walk up to them and say hi. Ask them for their messenger, and 9 times out of 10 they're giving it to you. Even if they have a boyfriend, because they will get rid of him for you.
It's wild.
We are the prize.
It's wild.
110%. And I'm a poor white man, and I still do really well here. Partially because I'm charming and I'm forward, you know, and I'm young. But
what about safety? We talked about.
I walk home. Okay, I used to live, before I got my house in Soledad, which is a 3-hour walk from my bar. I only did it once to see how long it would take me. I now take a trike home. It costs me 50 pesos.
Right.
That's at all. Maybe 100 if I'm really late and it's raining and it's a busy night, so they know they can gouge me. But I used to live about an hour's walk away. It was like 6 kilometers. I didn't mind it. I'd walk to work during the day, never have a problem, except for the heat. And then on the way home, I would drink at my bar here, or I would drink at the other bars, and then I would walk home. And I've never had a problem. The myth that Mindanao is so unsafe, yeah, there are Muslim strongholds in the north and in these tiny little, literally gated off sections of the province. Like, so you're not wandering into them by accident. You know you're in an area you're not welcome because they let you know.
Great advice.
Do you know what I mean?
That's really good.
Not here in Gensan. Gensan, it is awesome everywhere you go.
So cool. So you've told me a couple stories, because I've been coming here, hanging out, and just chat with guys, because he likes to chat, right? And I love it. I love it. But you brought up some interesting things on a couple of our other conversations, and one of the things you talked about was you told me like you've offered some security stuff, like some of your foreigner friends, like you mentioned pretty much in Thailand.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk to you about Southeast Asia, and in that concept, how do you see guys get themselves in trouble here? Like, what actions do they do? Like,
one word, stupidity.
Right.
It's just one word, stupid. Wander around with a lot of cash on you, showing it off, thinking, oh, I got a small cock, but look, I got lots of money.
Right.
That pisses off people, plus it makes you a target. Because even if you're a big guy like us, 6 or 7 of them with blades, I'm gonna take that money from you.
So you gotta lay low, right?
Well,
you gotta.
You see any jewelry? I do wear one pinky ring when I'm cooking, so I don't. But I mean, that's it. And my pinky ring's made out of steel. It was given to me by a monk. Well, I don't blend. Look at me. I'm dressed. I'm peacocking hard. Like,
so tell me, how is it then?
Because
you're pointing to something I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand, and I think it's so important as far as how to get yourself in trouble out here. What are things?
Well, another thing too is being rude to them. Like, this whole saving face thing is legitimate here, and that's everywhere in Southeast Asia, even in Thailand, even Cambodia. Because if you watch my channel, I've been to all these places and I document them. But what happens, because my friends, don't blame me, it's safe. It's safe, trust me. Look at where I am.
But being respectful, I think, is a key.
And when I say respectful, I don't mean go kiss their ass. But like, if they say, hey, how are you? Say hi back.
Right.
Nod back.
Right.
It's not gonna kill you. Now, if they come over to ask you for money, I say walla walla walla. That was my first Messiah word. And that means, no, get away from me, I ain't got nothing. They know the captain is a cheap bastard, he's not giving them nothing.
You don't want to be giving money, guys. And actually, I think it's illegal to give money.
But it's just one of these things where, you don't give them free stuff. And also, the other thing, especially if you're alone, is don't put yourself into a situation where you're gonna get cornered if you've got a lot of gear on you. Like, I have an antique phone, I don't wear an expensive watch, even carrying money I don't do a lot of. Like, I never carry more than 2,000 or 3,000 pesos, which is enough if they're desperate enough to rob you for. But in the same sense, I don't live in fear. If they're gonna rob me, they're gonna rob me. But I'm not walking around like, I know this one guy, he's an American guy, he walks around consistently with 30 to 50,000 pesos on him. Now, that is enough, and he gets drunk and flashes it like a moron. And I've been with him in the bar a few times where I said, bro, don't, because I don't want to have to help you.
Dude,
but at the same sense, I'm not going to leave him hanging. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you put me in a situation. The other thing besides the rudeness and the flashiness is, don't try and punk another guy's woman. Just because she's being slutty and smiling at you, that first of all, doesn't even mean she's being slutty. She could just be being polite, right? But if she's with her man or a family member and they don't like you, leave them be. This is the land of milk and honey. There's fucking 50 more, 1 block away. Do you know what I mean? She's not the only hot one. It's not like in the States where like there might only be, or Canada, might only be 2 good-looking broads in the bar. So the hot one's smiling at you, you want to go try your shot. Here, no way. Because sometimes it's actually a trap. She's bait on a hook. And then they get you outside to fight, and all of a sudden the one little tiny guy that you could beat the shit out of becomes 10 guys.
That's right.
And this hasn't happened to me, but it's happened to other expats. Like, part of what I really like about having my bar and having it be an expat hangout is I hear so many stories from other expats that I can learn from their wisdoms.
Totally.
And not that they're secondhand stories. These are stories that actually happen to them. Do you know what I mean? So it's like the one guy, he's got a huge scar on his arm because he got macheted. And he doesn't remember why it happened because he was very, very drunk. Well, there's a key there too. My only night I ever had any kind of conflict here, I was drinking really heavily. I was down maybe, and I'm not lying, like probably about 30 beers that day. I was still walking, but the one guy starts giving me the stink eye, and I don't know why. And I'm like, okay. So I just kind of stop eating the food, thinking maybe he's pissed off because I've eaten too many wings or something, right? and I threw 200 or 300 pesos on the table for the food as a,
Right.
and they're like, no, there's not that, Captain. Well, what there was the one guy didn't like that his woman liked me. She had a fetish for white guys. He knew that, I didn't, and she was fat and gross, so there's no way I would have taken it anyways.
Right.
But in his mind,
Yeah.
I'm trying to poach his woman.
That's right.
Because
Dangerous.
I was being nice,
Dangerous.
chatting. Do you know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
So they get the owners of the bar to ask me to leave their table.
Yeah.
I'm insulted because I'm drunk and I'm like, what the fuck? What did I do wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. That's what it is. You can't take anything personally here either. Like you just
Right.
need to, if they ask you to leave, just leave. If they say you're in the wrong, okay. Because we're the foreigner.
That's
Do
right.
you know what I mean?
We're
Like
the
we're not going
tourist.
to win.
We're the visitor.
And if it gets to the police stage, we're also never going to win.
That's right.
Like the legal system here is really set up for the Filipinos. So it's one of these things where that's the only time I've ever had a problem in drinking. I drank too much, right?
Yeah.
I lost
No,
my
it makes
cool
sense.
by trying to antagonize. I should have just, when they said, Jimmy, you got to leave tonight. Okay. And walked away. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Girls would have met me at my room. They knew where it was. You know what I mean? Both of them had been there before.
What else about General Santos would people would be helpful for them to know? Yeah. What are some
Well,
things?
I mean,
we covered a lot of it. What
Where
else?
I am, like, because it's surrounded by these cheap hotels, and there's so many of them. There's over 800 rooms, because there's other hotels down the road too, right? Like, there's these 3 main ones, but I'm right near Manny Pacquiao's house, and he's pretty popular.
Oh,
He
wow.
entertains a lot of, celebs.
Yeah.
So there's all these hotels near his house too. Now they're more pricey than Red Doors and that.
Right.
I don't think they're really worth it. I've been in some of them.
Yeah.
They're about the same level, but
Red
they're
Doors
triple
is just
the price.
good value, man. That's great.
It
Yeah,
is.
go
It
ahead.
is really good value. But you're also surrounded by the 3 big malls, and they are hunting grounds like you wouldn't believe.
The malls are
Now,
big and really nice,
KCC
modern.
is not as good a hunting ground because of the way it's structured. It's 3 stories, but it's just 1 lane. So you'll get the smiles, you get the waves, but there's nowhere really to like sit down and chat. They don't really have a food court. You know what I mean?
Right.
G Mall, they're building it, and it's going to be huge. It's going to be like
massive.
Mall of the World size huge when they're done.
Right.
And it will definitely probably have a couple areas where you can socialize.
Sure.
SM Mall has a traditional food court.
Yeah.
And if you are a white guy sitting in there, you will get picked up. It's really that simple.
There you have it, man.
And
That's
like I said,
pro advice. That's probably actually pro advice anywhere in the Philippines, in a lot of spaces, because I've noticed food court's really good. If you just go in there and sit in the food court, you're going to meet people. You really will.
Yeah, and I mean, what happens too is like I get people even just walking through that mall.
Yeah.
It's also where I'll meet a lot of Westerners who are just visiting or just living here.
You mentioned you've got a YouTube channel. What's the name of your channel? You guys can
Well,
find. I'll put a link in the video
Yeah,
description, by the way.
because when I tell people to search for it it's called Getting It Done, because originally the channel was built to talk about the trials and errors of my travel over here and getting the cartoon I'm working on done. It's spiraled now into being just a general blog about traveling in Asia.
Oh, that's cool,
You know
dude.
what I mean?
Yeah, good for you.
And sometimes I also talk about Gen San. Like, some things are weird here, like paying your water bill here is a chore, and I had to do a whole video on that.
Wow, yeah,
Because,
yeah.
like, it was crazy to me. I'm like, what? It was a little unknown, unlabeled building hidden in a park in my neighborhood, and that's where you pay your water bill. Now, they had another
Right.
address downtown, but that address did not exist. Well, it does. It's behind a Dunkin' Donuts inside the Dunkin' Donuts. So if you don't find this, they shut you off. They charge you triple the bill to turn
Right.
you back on.
Right.
And you go without water for how many days,
Oh,
right?
that's freaking great.
So I did a little video about that. So it spiraled out of from being just about the show. But there is a lot of stuff still about the show.
Yeah, fun, man.
And about really my travels here, because there is some weirdness I found in the beginning. Like, there's no sex shops here. So, like, other than condoms, you can't get nothing.
There's actually a sex shop in Cebu City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there is one right in there, and it's near a really good Mexican place. I almost want to say it's called Fascinations, but you're right, they're really limited. I mean, it's the conservative religious culture that's here, And
Which is also a farce, but we won't get into that because I don't want to get you in trouble.
guys, we're gonna bowl here. Check out Jim's channel; it's in the video description. Dude, I really appreciate you
Chris,
hanging out and
appreciate it
talking.
for sure, yeah,
check out his restaurant here too. We'll put in a map, a link
Got
in the
a
video
Facebook
description.
page, Captain's Sushi, Soup, and Sandwiches, because I make sushi. I do a homemade soup.
Burger
every
is
day.
really good, man. I've
Yeah.
had the burger, had the club sandwich. So
Nothing's frozen. It's all from scratch.
It's really
So
good.
it's hard to find that kind of food over here. Plus, I do it as a Western-style clean kitchen, which is also
it's
hard
good
to
stuff.
find over here.
All right, everybody.
Thanks, Chris.
Appreciate everyone watching. As usual, Amping, Ayo, feed the good wolf.